Hello, friends. Welcome to my first YouTube video of Sex Positive, a new video series that it is my intention to host on a weekly basis. And my intention in relation to this video series is to have all kinds of positive conversations about sex. And I want to preface this by saying if you're not or if you're sensitive to bold conversations and honest, frank discussion about sex, penis, cock, dick, all of those things, probably not the video for you. If you are, you struggle with conversations about multiple sex partners or experiential sexual practices, all kinds of different things. Maybe this isn't the best video for you. So that's the disclaimer. Otherwise, welcome. If you've decided to stay, I'm thrilled that you're here to join me. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Chad. I live in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I am going to be 50 this year. So it's 2025, I'm going to be 50 years old. And so I've decided that I want to take my experience in life around sex, engaging in sex, my body, relationships, all things related to sex, and have a conversation that's very frank and honest on YouTube to share with all of you so that we can begin to open up and get in the practice of having more frank and honest conversations, whether it's at the dinner table or at a friend's coffee house, or with friends at a coffee house, or whatever it is. My intention is to create this space, inspire dialogue, and also encourage, if you feel like you want to reach out to me, make any comments, questions, or have feedback for me, all is welcome. So with that said, I also want you to know that there's a 15-minute timer set on this conversation. So that's to push me to have very frank, honest conversations as quickly as possible and so that you can get back to your day. All right. So sex positive. This is a 15-minute video that I'll be posting today being January 5th, 2025. And so I wanted to talk about the subject of bathhouses. So, wasn't my intention to do my first episode on bathhouses, but I went to one last night and I thought, why not kick it off with something a little titillating and salacious. So here we go. For those of you, again, that don't know me, I am somebody who identifies as a person in recovery from drug and alcohol addiction. I was first introduced to recovery back in my early 20s. I went through drug and alcohol rehab. I had 25 years sober. I was very blessed to have that, build a beautiful life, marriage, house, community engagement. And I was working in the field as a professional social worker. I have my master's in social work. And after 25 years sober, I had a slip. Actually, in relation to my sexual practices, I was introduced to crystal meth and chemsex. And so after 25 years sober, 2 years ago, I fell into that world for about 10 months, and it caused me to really evaluate what I was doing with my life. And so I have changed everything. And the long story short is after 10 months in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and reconnecting with my husband, we have purchased a home and now live in St. Petersburg. And I'm down here engaged in CMA, which is Crystal Meth Anonymous, similar to Alcoholics Anonymous, but we have an incredible fellowship here that I'm involved with. And my husband and I, even though we are married, I don't wear a ring. We have decided that we want to put a pause on our marriage, not because we don't love each other and we're not committed to each other, but because it's just what we feel that we need to do to take care of ourselves right now. And so as I have these conversations, folks that know my husband and I and or know him specifically, I just want you to know that he's aware of everything I'm doing. We are having frank, honest conversations all the time. He's a huge support of mine, and he knows I'm carving my own path and I'm doing my own thing. So he's supportive, and I love him for that, and grateful to have him in my life. So hopefully, maybe one of these days I can get him to do one of these videos with me, but we'll see. So anyhow, I also have openly identified as somebody who has struggled with sex addiction. So I do, and I'm grateful that I've had an opportunity to get back involved in SLAA, which is Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. And really, the way that I've engaged this time around is for me to have space to not necessarily, I mean, on a level be accountable, but really to be able to show up in a shared space where other folks are trying to figure out their sexual health, their sexual journey, relationships. There's a lot of folks that come that haven't had sex in years, and they're looking to try and engage in sexual relationships. I'm the complete polar opposite. I'm somebody who has loved having sex all of my life. There were times in my marriage where I was very monogamous with my husband. We've been together for over 20 years, and we got married on our 10-year anniversary. And so there are moments within that relationship that, or long periods of time within that relationship where I was monogamous. And then towards the end, prior to my crash and burn with the chemsex, we actually tried having a throuple for a period of time, which didn't work out, but was an amazing experience. So all of that to say, I love sex, and I will say frankly, I love cock, I love dick, I love penis. I just do. It's kind of like ice cream and pizza for me. And so, yeah, I was, I mean, I was enjoying cock and penis prior to reaching puberty. So I was exposed to that world early on. And so I kind of developed a love for it, a love for the penis very early on. And I came out my senior year in high school. So this is 1994. And yeah, so I've loved penis and dick, cock pretty much all my life. And so when I came out, I actually moved up to Rochester, New York. And that was the first time I ever went to a bathhouse. So I said I wanted to talk about bathhouses. So the first experience that I ever had at a bathhouse, and for those of you that don't know what a bathhouse is, in the gay culture, I'm sure that, you know, there'd be folks that would identify a bathhouse as the place where really the HIV/AIDS epidemic really took off in New York City, and probably also in San Francisco back in the day, right? Back in the 70s into the 80s, because our gay culture, right, has largely been open to the idea of promiscuity, random sex, anonymous sex, sex with, you know, pretty much anybody you wanted to have sex with. And so they've created these clubs that probably were more popular in the past, but there are spatterings of them around the world, really, and around the country, and also in upstate New York, and also down here in Tampa, Florida. And so what happens at a bathhouse is that largely gay, bisexual men who like to have sex with men, transgender individuals. I don't think women come in. It's listed as a men's club here in Tampa, and primarily, I don't think I've ever seen a woman at a gay bathhouse. But primarily, it's a place where men who want to engage and partake in sexual activity with other men go. And so a bathhouse is you kind of go, you check in, you give your ID, you pay whatever fees you have to pay. There's fees associated with whether you want to get a locker where you can put your stuff, and then generally you just get naked, you get a towel and some sandals, and you walk around and do your thing. Or you can get a room, which is a little bit more expensive, where you have private space. I will say that 9 times out of 10, there's videos with porn playing on all of them, generally gay porn of all types. And sometimes, depending on where you are, the different bathhouses have different amenities. So, for example, the one in upstate New York that I had gone to several times, it has like a little hot tub. It has a steam room and a sauna. There's a gym that kind of nobody uses. There's lots of private rooms, and then there's like kind of like hangout rooms where there's couches and porn playing, and then there's like dugouts or like dark rooms where you go in and you can't see anything, so you're not quite sure who you're going to be running into. But that's kind of the makeup of a bathhouse if you've never heard of one, and what it kind of feels like when you get there. And largely, my first experience at a bathhouse was in Rochester, New York, and I was 20, going on 21, and that was the first time I flip fucked, right? So the first time I ever actually done poppers, which we can talk about that. But also the first time I hooked up with a guy, and I was a bottom, and then he was a bottom, and he was a top, and I was a top. And so that was really kind of the memory that I have from that experience, as well as the poppers, which fast forward to today, I don't do poppers. A lot of people do them. And when I was at the club yesterday, a lot of people were doing them, even people that I was hooking up with. But I don't like to use them because they give me headaches. And what a popper is, for you that don't know what that is basically, it's like VCR cleaner, I think, originally. And so people would just it's an inhalant. And so it gives you this buzz in your head, and it expands your sexual experience very briefly for like 30, 45 seconds. So I don't, but some people love it. Anyhow, bathhouses. So that was my first exposure to a bathhouse, was in Rochester, New York. So got a taste of it. Fast forward, some of the best bathhouses that I've ever been to. One that really sticks out was in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. I went with my husband. We actually both went together. And so we kind of split up and did our own little thing. And that was amazing. One of the best things that I loved about that bathhouse in particular is that for those of you who bottom and like to clean out your hole, they had these toilets where you could had like one of those kitchen sink sprayers, and you just put that inside your butt and you just spray, and like it just washes out. It's like a car wash for your butt. And that was kind of amazing because I was a tourist. We were there. I didn't have a lot of cleaning supplies for myself. So being able to go and use that facility and get cleaned out was amazing. And then the other piece that is very memorable from that experience, aside from all the hot Brazilian dudes that were there, is walking down this hallway where you just had this line of guys just standing at the doorway. And as I got to the end, one of the guys just like pulled me into his room, and I don't really get a good visual of him, but I bottomed and he was a great top, and it was a phenomenal experience. And I left and moved on and went and did other things. So that was probably one of the highlights. I would say DC has a pretty incredible bathhouse. There was a bathhouse in San Jose in California that we tried out. That was cool. I don't even think it's open now because then COVID hit when we were right before we were there. But I'm running short on time. I'm already at 13 and a half minutes. And so I just want to do a couple more things around bathhouses in my experience last night. And what I want to encourage folks to do is really be mindful of self-care if you're going to be engaging or going to a bathhouse. And that's whether you're taking PrEP to prevent acquiring HIV, whether you're doing Doxy so that after you've had multiple sexual partners, you can take Doxy and it helps prevent you from getting STI. Talk to your doctor, Google it, look it up if you don't know what it is. And also that drugs are happening, that people do use drugs there. There was a guy that asked me if I smoked last night, and I was like, nope, I don't do that. And he was cool. So people honor that. And I tell people I don't do poppers because it gives me headaches. So the drugs are there, but you can choose not to do that. And also your stuff. One night I had a guy come in and he was kind of wanted to leaf through my stuff while we were hooking up, and I'm like, okay, you can go. So those are just some things. So again, this is an opportunity for me to have unapologetic, frank conversations with y'all about sex, my sex life. I want to encourage others to have open, honest conversations with each other. And so hopefully this video helps does that. Next week, I'm actually going to be doing a video with my Tantra mentor, Justin Rocket. And we're going to be right after our naked yoga. He does a naked yoga on Sundays. We're going to do a video and talking about the Tantra massage workshop that I'm going to be facilitating on February 1st. So stay tuned for all that. I hope this was interesting, informative, maybe blew your mind a little bit, but feel free, comment, whatever. I'm open. All right. Love y'all. Bye.